memories together here. And want to take a moment to specially acknowledge some folks who made this day possible, including the co-chairs of the fundraiser, Gala Laffey, Amanda Nicholson, Laura Cromaldi, and myself, as well as members of the Burke and O'Keefe families. Thank you for being here. Members of the Smith community, Kathy Kearney and team from Smith, the Botanic Gardens crew, the tech team who helped us with our technology needs, and everyone who was a friend or who knew Lisa. As shown from this group here and the folks who were able to join us, Lisa brought everyone together. So thank you for being here. So whether we lived together in Mora House, studied with Lisa, JYA in Geneva, played sports with her, we got some athletes in the house, or just got to know Lisa through her many social activities or many roommates. Many people also were friends who lived with Lisa at various points around. She really brought us together, and we really appreciate you being here with us today. So, Lisa was my first friend at Smith from our class. We met at Prospect Accepted Students Weekend and became fast friends. And we also shared a birthday. Mine was a day before hers, so we often coordinated our birthday celebrations together. So really some special memories together that really helped me stay connected and get to know Lisa as a great friend. So also wanted to acknowledge Lisa's service to our class. I'm proudly the co-president of our class. Lisa served as our class treasurer for over 20 years, from when we graduated until she passed. So we've actually, in her memory, named her Treasurer Emeritus. So we will continue to remember Lisa during our reunions and class events to come. So we always appreciate her service to Smith and our classmates, and really want to recognize that. So, the fundraiser. So, this beautiful tree that we're going to learn a little bit more about today. Coming together, going through a challenging time, we really wanted to do something to remember Lisa, and came up with the idea, working with the Smith team, to fundraise for a tree on campus. So together, in I think about 6 weeks, we raised over $20,000. $20,076 was raised in support. Yeah, we can applaud that. Yeah. And we had over 103 alums participate from the class of 1970 to 2013, and 60 members of the class of 2001 contributed to the tree. So we're doing great on our fundraising for heading into the next reunion as well. And also, 25 parents, friends, and college employees participated. So again, it just speaks to how Lisa brought people together and how people were, really thinking about how to remember her in a unique way. And getting the word out in a unique way. Talking to the Smith team, I think we're the first group to crowdsource a tree. So we used our social media skills on Facebook. People reached out individually. Thank you to everyone who took time to reach out to friends and colleagues. We reached out through the Smith alumni page. And also we were even featured in Northampton's own The Reminder. We were in the newspaper about our fundraiser for the tree to help us get the word out to the broader community. And again, all those connection points were really important to help us connect to Lisa and to support this effort. So I'm going to turn it over to my friend and co-chair Laura to take us to the next part of the program. Thank you.
We have to stand on this side of the tree. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Laura Cromaldi, and this is
Leo.
I met Lisa in 1999 when we were roommates together during the Paris portion of Smith's Junior Year Abroad program in Geneva. I'm here to tell you about the tree we're dedicating here today in her honor. We're celebrating Lisa with a Patriot elm tree outside Morrow House, her beloved home for 3 years at Smith College. Lisa's tree is one of 2 Patriot elms on Smith's campus, and it was planted in 2022. It is across from the other Patriot elm on campus outside Gardner House. If everyone turns around, you can see it's twin house. It's twin tree. Smith planted these Patriot elms on this terrace so that when they mature, they will provide a frame for the commencement stage, according to John Berryhill, who's the interim director of the Botanic Garden at the college. The location of this tree is perfect for Lisa, and I think we all know that Lisa would be deeply touched by this tribute to her in a spot that held so much meaning for her. But I think she would also really love this tree and its backstory and the circumstances that gave way to its development. The Patriot elm was born of a calamity, the decimation of elm trees in the United States as a result of Dutch elm disease. The fungal pathogen originated in Asia, spread to Europe during World War I, and then was first reported in the United States in 1928. Bark beetles carrying the disease infested logs shipped from the Netherlands to furniture makers in Ohio. Elms, those majestic trees that bloomed wide, cooling canopies and prospered in urban settings, died out by the millions. Over about 40 years, 3/4 of an estimated 77 million elms were wiped out. The casualties included elms at Smith College, which sits on Elm Street in Northampton. While some elms on Smith's campus were spared and live on thanks to fungicides, Dutch elm disease wiped out elms in the Quad during the 1970s, Berryhill told me. The United States couldn't contain Dutch elm disease, but it didn't want to lose what elm trees gave us. So the search was on to develop a tree that could offer the gifts of an American elm. It had to produce beautiful blossoms in spring, develop a shapely crown in summer, and radiate brilliant foliage in the fall. The tree had to be tough. It had to be able to endure foot traffic, storms, emissions, insects, and dogs, and only require little maintenance.
Why did you say dogs on that?
The tree had to be like Lisa. Beautiful, resilient, devoted, selfless, loving. In 1980, the year Lisa turned 1, a botanist for the U.S. National Arboretum named A.M. Townsend pollinated a hybrid of elms with an Asian elm species. It withstood Dutch elm disease during field studies in Delaware, Ohio, and Maryland, and it's been on the market since 1993. The Patriot elm was built to be like Lisa. It saved the day. Like the time Lisa rescued a passport left behind on a train by one of our JYA classmates. She must have been traveling in a German-speaking part of Europe because she repeatedly thanked the railroad worker who helped to recover the passport by saying, "Danke, man, danke." Lisa's tree will be a landmark, a gathering spot, a place where memories are made. Lisa gave me a memory I cherish. About a week after we got to Paris, I turned 20, and even though we barely knew each other, Lisa and our host Colette organized a party for me with champagne and flourless chocolate cake. I'll never forget it. Lisa's death diminished our world, It illuminated what we cherished about her. I think this tree is a fitting tribute to her spirit and joy. The tree is expected to grow to at least 80 feet and live for about a century.
81 feet.
And every May, when Smithies embark at commencement on the walk across the quad that transforms them from student to graduate, Lisa and her tree will watch over them every step of the way. And I'm now going to read the plaque, Ulmus Americana Patriot, Patriot American Elm, Ulmose, Eastern North America, 2022-0185/A. Lisa Maureen Burke, class of '01. She gifted us with her joy and got by with a little help from her friends. And now it's my pleasure to hand it over to Amanda for a reading.
Laura is a hard act to follow. Go Plant a Tree, a poem by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. God, what a joy it is to plant a tree, and from the sallow earth to watch it rise, lifting its emerald branches to the skies in silent adoration, and to see its strength and glory waxing with each spring. Yes, 'tis a goodly and a gladsome thing to plant a tree. Nature has many marvels, but a tree seems more than marvelous. It is divine, so generous, so tender, so benign, not garrulous like the rivers, and yet free, in pleasant converse with the winds and birds. Oh, privilege beyond explaining words to plant a tree. Rocks are majestic, but unlike a tree, they stand aloof and silent. In the roar of ocean billows breaking on the shore, there sounds the voice of turmoil. But a tree speaks ever of companionship and rest. Yea, of all the righteous acts, this is best, to plant a tree. There's an oak, oh how I love that tree, which has been thriving for 100 years. Each day I send my blessing through the spheres to one who gave this triple boon to me, of growing beauty, singing birds, and shade. Wouldst thou win laurels that shall never fade? And now, we'll enjoy a musical interlude from our class of 24, Smith, soon-to-be alums, Sarah and Grace.
Come on up.
These are tough acts to follow. But before, we'd just like each of Lisa's classmates to identify yourselves and where you travel from. So let's start over here.
Stella
Megan Russell, Boston.
Amanda Nicholson, Boston.
Laura Grimaldi, Winthrop. Jessica Mealy, Los Angeles.
Emily Edmonston, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Genevieve Duxbury.
Melanie Woodard, Nashville, Tennessee.
Ann Galladay, Baltimore, Maryland.
Ruth Wilson, Boston.
Jessica City, Hartford, Connecticut.
Dania Francis, Boston.
Alice Revolver, Denver, Colorado.
Henry Brown, Boston. Abby Matthews, Buffalo, New York.
Amy Wells from Atlanta.
Susan, Michael, Becky. We are truly humbled. For all of your love and support during what has been very difficult. And I was trying to think of some words that could express how I thought about Lisa for the last few months. And as you can see from the pictures behind me, Lisa did not spend a whole lot of time in one place. And it reminded me of a poem by William Wordsworth called I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats over high vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as stars that shine, twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of the bay. 10,000 I saw at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poor poet could not be, but be gay. In such jocund company, I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth to show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye, which is bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Now, in thinking about Lisa's life, and that's the picture still there. Lisa was born in Niskayuna, New York. In the first 4 years, we lived in Latham, New York. We then moved to Ashland, Massachusetts. From there, we moved to Queensbury, New York. And from there, we moved to Loudonville. But in between, she spent 3 years here. She spent a year in Switzerland and returning here to Smith. Upon graduation, she came home, lived for a while. She then moved to Bern, New York, after becoming reacquainted with her soulmate, Charlie Meyer. They lived there for a few years. And then they purchased their home in Brunswick Hills and lived the remaining years of her home. There's one other place that is very special to the O'Keefe and Burke family. refer to it as the farm. It's a piece of property in the Adirondacks that's been in our family since 1871. Lisa truly loves spending time there, and I think some of her classmates have actually been there. I have memories of Lisa and her cousins walking up through the fields from our pond, and it's just a memory that's just constant. So it's become the custom in our family that when a member passes away, we like to send them off with some remembrance of the farm. So Mike, could you go over and get the box? And again, while I wait for this, we cannot express our deep gratitude for everything that you've done. So, these are pine boughs that I got the other day from the farm. So, I'm gonna put those down there. No, this is not Sprite. Farm water. It's spring water. Best water in the world. So Lisa, this is for you. Your love for the pond. And this is soil from the farm. And if anybody would like to spread some soil, please feel free to do so. Again, we can't thank you enough. And, we'll look forward to seeing you afterwards. There you go. You want to plant some flowers? So.
Thank you so much, Walter. Amazing words and an amazing way to remember Lisa. It's hard for me to put into words what Lisa meant to me, what she meant to all of us, and I have to say, Meg, you stole my thunder. Lisa was also my first friend at Smith. She was my roommate, my confidant. Our freshman year, we bonded over a love of mashed potatoes, Cheez-Its, and goldfish, strict carb diet. Our sophomore year, she was my activity partner and my adventure friend. She convinced me to join the synchronized swimming team. We were affectionately called the Bad News Bears. It was everything you would imagine and worse. And yet she and I lasted the entire season and loved every minute. I visited her when she was in Switzerland. I had never skied a day in my life, and she said, "This is where you learn to ski, in the French Alps." So I think it was Chamonix. I don't remember. All I know is that small French children were injured in my attempt to learn to ski on those mountains. But what an adventure and what an amazing memory. We have pictures of, thankfully not me careening down the mountain, but celebrating at the top before making it down. But to speak to Lisa's love and care, my senior year, I trained for the New York Marathon, and every single Sunday morning, she would put a brunch plate out for me, knowing that I was out running 3 or 4 hours and that she knew that I would be starving when I came back. And she was the first person I saw when I opened that door, ready to give me food and comfort after my runs. On a sillier note, she was also the person that instigated us to do some of our most fun activities. There is a lovely fountain, if you all have a chance to walk around the campus for those who didn't attend, called the Lady of the Fountain. And we decided it would be a great idea. She was refurbished our senior year, and they were gonna have a grand unveiling. So we asked everyone in the house to donate bras, and we got our case of Keystone beer, walked down to the statue, unveiled her, covered her head to toe in bras of every make, manner, size, you name it. wrapped her back up in her construction plastic so that her unveiling would be very grand, and then we laughed the entire way back to the quad. So as I said, Lisa was many things to many people. She was my best friend, she was my roommate. Many of you know she was my Beavis, and I was hers. It was a silly nickname that we both shared for each other. And there are no words to express the hole that is in my life without her in it. But I decided not to say goodbye. It's until we meet again, and I will carry her in my heart going forward. So I'd like to now open it up to anyone. If there are any friends, family members, anyone who would like to say a few words about Lisa or have a positive Smith memory, we would love to hear it. Oh, sure. 1 second. Oh.
For those who don't know, my mother attended Smith College, and that was her dorm also. When I was in high school, I had a part-time job. A friend of my father by the name of Sam Smith hired me to take care of the coffee truck on the weekends. So one day he came out and he said to me, you know, Smith-trained men are in demand. So a couple nights later at dinner time, my father asked me, how is it going with Sam? I said, well, he told me that Smith-trained men are in demand. And my mother looked at me and she said, you go back and tell Sam Smith that you were Smith-trained before you ever got there.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yes, I am Lisa's Aunt Kathy. I am married to her uncle, Bill, Walter's brother. And it's really nice to see Lisa's friends. I remember at the funeral hearing just the most marvelous things about her Smith classmates and how far they had traveled and how they had gathered so beautifully around her during that year to help her. And I'm sorry that I was not physically able to be there, but I guess that's what youth is for, and friendship, and obviously a great deal of love that she found here at Smith College. So my daughter, her first cousin, wrote something that she asked be read, her tribute to Lisa, that she asked be read at this gathering. In November of 2022, I got a phone call from my dad. I was working with a client, but when Dad calls, I always answer. As I was kneeling amongst books and papers, I got the news that my cousin Lisa had been diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. It was her 43rd birthday. On Sunday, September 24th last year, I was in the truck with my dad, on the way to see her for what I knew would be the last time. But minutes away from her house, we got the call from my Uncle Walt that Lisa had just passed away. We never got that last visit with her. I've never known life without Lisa. Her christening is one of my earliest memories. We were 2 years and 11 months apart. She was more than a cousin, she was my sister. We were supposed to grow old together. We were supposed to be the childless aunties sitting on the porch watching everyone else's kids play. She was there for me at the hardest moments of my life. Things I couldn't tell anyone else, I could tell her. In the summer of 2008, I found myself almost a decade into a toxic marriage, slowly dying inside. She was the only one I could tell, and she gave me the strength to leave. She saved my my life. I have to interject something of my own that I said at that time. I would forever be grateful to Lisa for that. And to think that Kathy had that kind of relationship with her. I was always grateful to Lisa. She was there for me at the hardest moments of my life. Oh, here we go. It's usually the little kid who wants to be like the big kid, but I always wanted to be like her. She was so cool, so effortlessly cool. She brought the fun. Whenever we were headed to the farm, the first thing I asked my dad was, "Is Lisa going to be there?" Even as an adult, every time I pulled up to the farm, the first car I would look for and hope to see was hers. She fought the cancer tooth and nail. She never gave up. In the end, death came for her in her sleep, because if it hadn't, there would have been a fight. There is a giant hole in my heart, and I will miss her until the day I die. But now I'm a little less afraid of dying, because she went there first. And when I go, I know she'll be there, and we'll wrap our arms around each other and run into the woods for an eternity of adventures. "I don't go back, I only loop," she once said on a hike that ended up miles off course. And we can't go back, but we can loop, and we'll loop back together someday, forever. And then we'll never have to say goodbye again.
Great, thank you, everyone. That concludes our official part of the ceremony today. I want to invite everyone to our post-event reception. Thank you to Walter and Susan for hosting that reception with us at Progression Brewery here in Northampton. And Laura is going to share another special giveaway. Giveaway, I don't know.
It's like the Price is Right.
Exactly.
And I will explain what it is.
Okay, Leo will explain what it is.
So, when we were going to, my mom had these lanterns with Lisa's picture on them, so we did that.
Yes. Yes, so this is nearby. Go send Lisa for a little ride. And they're on the table. Okay, thank you.
They have Lisa's picture on it, if you can see.
Thank you.
Thank you.